Alright guys, we're going to be making my version of Chico's tacos. So I have everything washed already. You're going to just need your veggies, which is tomato, jalapeno, onion, and then I do garlic. And that's going to be for the broth of the sauce, or for the sauce. And then for the salsa for the tacos, we're going to do some tomatillos, some jalapeno, some onion, and some garlic, and then we'll go on from there. So from here I'm just going to cut up the vegetables and throw them in the stock pot, and then we'll see you in a little bit. Alright guys, so we have our sauce going. I did 6 tomatoes, 8 jalapenos, 2 onions, and 3 garlic cloves. And then we're gonna just let it simmer down. Once it's nice and everything is soft, I'll go ahead and go in there with the immersion blender and blend it all up so that it's nice and liquidy. And then over here we have the jalapenos, the cebolla, and the tomatillos and some garlic going for the salsa. And then the same thing, but this one I'll probably put into the blender because it's a lot smaller. So yeah, they'll probably cook for about 20 minutes, just until everything is nice and soft, and then hit it up in the blenders, immersion blenders, and we'll be good to go. Alright guys, so now we're going to start the meat. Just put in a little bit of olive oil down. The meat that I have is 93% less fat or something like that, so it doesn't produce much fat, so I have to add in my oil. My pan is already hot, so I'm just going to go ahead and mix around the oil, get it lined, add in some onion, sprinkle some salts on my onion just to sweat it down. And then once this sweats down, we'll go ahead and add in the ground beef. And we'll see you right now when it's time to do that. Alright guys, so now that our onions are ready, I'm going to add in our ground beef. And I did about 3 pounds. I always like to make extras because my kids will eat them for leftovers for lunch or for dinner. So I always like to make sure that there's plenty. So with this, we're just going to mix up the ground beef. I have the onion mixed in it. I'm going to be seasoning it. Once it's brown, I'll add in some salt, some cumin, some garlic. That's probably it. You don't want to, well, I don't season this too much, just because it'll take away from the broth. Seasoning it just enough gives it a really, really good flavor once you add it into the broth. So I'll show you guys in a little bit right now, once it's all nice and browned, what I season it with and how much, and yeah, we'll go from there. Okay, so it's all browned. I strained it. That way there's no excess liquid, because we are going to be putting this into little taquitos, which most of you know as flautas. And then we are going to be frying those. And if there's any kind of liquid that goes into hot oil, we all know what happens. It once the water hits the oil, it splashes out everywhere. So we don't want that. Last time we made Chicos, Jaden got burned. We don't want that happening. So I'm going to add some seasonings now. So we're going to do some garlic. And salt. And I don't measure, guys. I'm one of those people who just cooks and goes based off of smell. I do taste my food sometimes, but most of the time I just kind of know what my recipes call for. So it's kind of hard to give out my recipes with exact measurements. So some garlic powder, a little bit of salt, some cumin, and these are my basic seasonings that I put on a lot of my Mexican dishes. And then I'll probably add some consomme, which is chicken bouillon. So we'll just mix that in, and I'll come back to you when it's all done. Alright guys, so now we have our veggies done. They're all nice and soft. Put them in the blender. Right now I'm going to season them. I had already seasoned them with a little bit of salt in the pot, but right now I'm going to put in some consomme. And then a little bit, ooh, that was a little more than I wanted. Then cumin. Over here we have the tomato, jalapeno, onion, garlic. And this is going to be the main broth or sauce that we're going to put over our tacos, taquitos, flautas, whatever you want to call them. So again, in this one, I'm going to add consomme. And again, the consomme is just the chicken bouillon. And then some cumin. And then I'll use the immersion blender for the tomato sauce, and then I'll use the regular blender for the jalapeno salsa. So once it's all done, we'll come back, and that way you can see the finished product. Alright guys, so this is what our sauce looks like now. We blended it up. We added our seasonings. We put some consomme, which is the chicken bouillon, some cumin, a little bit of garlic powder, and I did add 6 more tomatoes. Just because my wonderful daughter thought it was too spicy. So went ahead and did that, and when I did blend the tomatoes, I added in some of the broth that went with the sauce already. So I did the 6 tomatoes, the broth, and then I added tomato consomme. So instead of the chicken one, it was the tomato, just to give it more of a tomato flavor. And then I just added it into the sauce and then mixed it up. And now what we're going to do is we are going to just let it simmer and reduce, just so that it can be nicely done. So next we're going to move over here. We're just waiting for our oil to heat up. We have our little station set up with our paper towel and then our tortillas, and then once the oil is nice and hot, we'll go ahead and start frying up some tortillas. Alright guys, so our oil is ready. I see the ripples now, so test it. Yep, so just put it in, and all we're doing is softening them up. That way when we roll them right now, they don't break. So just put it for a few seconds. Flip it. A few seconds. Let it drain as much as possible. And then move it over to our paper towel. And then we're just gonna continue on and keep doing it with a whole bunch of them. Remember, you want them soft, you don't want them hard like a tostada. So you just do it a few seconds on each side, just because we're gonna roll them. And if you make them too hard, they will crack, and then when you put them in to fry, they won't fry properly. And when you try to roll them, they'll break and all the meat will fall out and it'll just be a hot mess. So a few seconds, flip, few seconds, and take it out. Alright guys, we're gonna finish these. I'm gonna have my little elves help me. And then and then we'll get back to you. Sure. Alright guys, so now I have my little elves helping roll.
6 foot elf.
Roll the flautas. So these are different flautas than you would normally have. Normal flautas have like brisket in them, long strands of beef. These have the ground beef because they're Chico's tacos. So this is what we're doing right now. And once they're all done, we will show you guys. Alright, so we finished, or I should say the kids finished rolling all of the taquitos. So now all we need to do is fry them up extra crispy, because they will be going inside of, or the broth will be going over them. So if you make them like this, if you leave them like this, how they are soft, they'll just completely disintegrate and it'll be nothing. And I did forget to show you guys the salsa. I finished it. I went ahead and just put it in the jar. Yes, it's a repurposed pickle jar. Don't laugh at me. I'm Mexican. We always do that. Ask our grandmas. So over here we have our hot pan with oil. And I will just grab the flautas and put them in. And you don't want to do too many at a time, because then it smothers it and you can't control it. So I'm going to do about 4 at a time. Turn them midway. Like I said, you want them nice and crunchy. Right now Kayla's going to put a screen over it. That way the oil doesn't splatter everywhere. So we will see you guys when they're all nice and done. Alright guys, so now while the flautas are finishing up cooking, I'm just going to put some crinkle fries in the oven. So I'm just going to cut open the bag. eating like 10 pounds of oil. So just spread them out. And then throw them in. And those should be done in about 20 minutes. Alright guys, so now the flautas are almost done. Now all I need to do is grate the cheese, and I'm gonna grate it finely, because nobody likes chunky cheese in their Chicos. So I'll get to doing that. The fries are almost done, the tacos are almost done, and then we will show you how to put it all together. And then we're gonna eat because we've been cooking for like 4 hours. So we'll see you in a little bit. Alright guys, so we finally finished. Jaden grated. Daniel's super happy because he's super hungry. It's almost 8 o'clock here, I think. Yeah, almost 8 o'clock here. Everybody's hungry, or maybe later. So we got our finely grated cheese here. We got our flautas. We got our salsa. We have our broth, soup, sauce, whatever you want to call it. And then we have our crispy fries here. So now we put it all together. So I'm going to plate one of the kids here. So we call this a single serving. So we put 3 down. Get my ladle. Spoon it over. And you want it to get lots and lots and lots of broth in there. Then you get your cheese. That finely shredded cheese. Who wants this one? Jaden or Kayla?
I'll take it.
Alright. Tell me when on cheese. ¿Quieres más?
Sí.
Okay.
Está bien.
Okay. So there's his, and he does not eat salsa, so we won't put any on his. And then he'll get his fries on the side, and I'm sure later he's gonna put them in. So there you have it, guys. Chico's tacos, Amanda style.